Pillar to post and coast to coast, this is The Law.
Live Audio Wrestling.
Dan the Mouth Lovranski here for Live Audio Wrestling and the Fight Network, and I am with the man, the genius, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, one of my favorites from the classic days of wrestling. Leaping Lanny Poffo is here with us today. Lanny, how you doing?
I am the genius full of glory and renown, still living in the past.
But what a past it is. What a past it is.
Yes, when I look at the sands of the hourglass, there's more on the bottom than on top. But I'm taking every day I can and spreading the love.
Now, we're here at the Hamilton Comic-Con. Do you do a lot of these conventions, Lanny? You like these?
I have my empty bag of dreams, and I wander aimlessly from town to town looking for people to still remember me. And if they don't remember me, they certainly remember this guy, and that's why I wear his shirt, and I hope I'm honoring him today.
Oh, absolutely. You've done nothing but help create and keep the legacy of your brother alive, and I think it's something that wrestling fans really appreciate.
Well, what I appreciate is so many fans have come up to me and shared with me the memories, positive memories they have of seeing and sometimes meeting the Macho Man Randy Savage, and that makes me feel good inside.
Well, I'll give you my personal one right now. When they would do the matches up here in Toronto, he would do the interviews with Billy Red Lions, and they would only be shown in the Toronto area, and he was an absolute genius with Billy Red Lions. And he would come out with the most amazing lines. He's going to beat the dragon one day after Valentine's Day in the Maple Leaf Gardens. And, he was such a great improviser. That was the thing that attracted to me with his promos. So good at just coming up with stuff.
And don't forget Billy Red Lions, who say, don't you dare miss it.
Right. That was his line. Yeah. That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
But how did that just come naturally to your brother, that promo skill? Because I don't think I've ever seen anyone like him.
You asked me for the truth, I'm going to give it to you. The missing piece of the puzzle was his promos. Randy was a tremendous talent in the ring, but he had two things wrong with him: his interviews and his physique. Well, he worked out like crazy, and within 3 years, he built himself a major league physique. But he still couldn't do interviews because he had anxiety. So he came to me for help, and he never did that, okay? So he says, can you help me with my interviews? I said, well, what's the problem? He says, my heart's beating, I get nervous, I can't do them. You know, he's not enjoying himself. So I said, well, if you're gonna be a savage, you look like a savage, you got hair like a savage, you wrestle like a savage, of the savage wrestlers, of that type of genre of wrestlers, who's your favorite interview? And he says, King Curtis Iakea and Pampero Firpo. I said, well, remember in Hawaii when Firpo did the station identification for the TV show? And you see 15 times a day, you are watching #1 station in Hawaii. Oh, yeah. And he was Armenian from Argentina, so he had a voice all his own. So I said, why don't you do that? So he goes, you are watching the #1 station in Hawaii. Ooh, yeah. And I went, he's got it. He's got it. I said, do I have it? And I said, I promise you, within a month, he went from worst to first, the greatest. And I was always thinking, he was so great, and it took him 5 more years to get to New York. Why didn't somebody steal that interview and go to New York? But they didn't. But they all imitate him now. I'm glad they didn't imitate him first, because he was the original.
And he was truly amazing. There's no doubt about that. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about with you is, I don't know how much do you follow the current WWE product very much, or?
Well, I don't want to act like a big shot, but I know I don't watch a lot of television, because look at it this way. I'm going to be 62 years old. In 38 years, I will be 100 if I'm still alive. And I can't do anything about that. But in this final gliding path of life, I don't want to watch a whole lot of television. I want to make the most of every day. And in other words, I don't want to watch the game. I want to play in it, and I want to play hard. Of course, I don't wrestle anymore, because nobody wants to see a 62-year-old man with his trunks past his boobs. But I'll tell you this much. I am totally in favor of what's going on today. I made my money, let them make theirs. I don't want to be one of those old-timers that say that the new guys are lousy. They're not lousy, they're doing their best. They're defying gravity the same way we did, except even more. The only thing I suggest, fire all the writers and let them, because you can't take you can't take Rowdy Roddy Piper, Jake the Snake Roberts, Macho Man Randy Savage, and tell them what to say and how to say it. All you can do is tell them what to say and let them do it their own way. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the personality of the Macho Man, Jake Roberts, and Roddy Piper. And those are just a few people that were unique and fantastic in this business.
Well, one of the things that we see a lot now in the WWE is the cruiserweights. I mean, they had the Cruiserweight Classic on the network. They now have the cruiserweights on Raw every Monday. And I just wanted to think, because really, back in the 80s, you were kind of like the only cruiserweight around.
Well, actually, yes, you're right. I was doing the high flying before they were flying. And people think I invented the moonsault. I'll have you know, I invented it right after I saw Tiger Mask do it in Japan. And he did it much better than I did. Okay?
Yeah, I just think it's really refreshing to see the cruiserweights finally kind of get featured as a prominent part of the promotion rather than just being one or two matches here and there.
Well, if that's what's going on, good for them. Good for them.
Now, when you come to these conventions and everybody's here to see you, what do they think what do they remember the most about Lanny? Is it the Leapin' Lanny Poffo with the poems, or is it the genius with Mr. Perfect?
The genius was okay, wait a second.
That's okay.
There's.
I know.
Okay.
It's loud.
The genius was victorious against the mighty Hulkster, and the World Wrestling Federation fell. For a billion Hulkamaniacs who wallowed in self-pity, saw the genius triumphant at the bell. They saw their hulking hero as he wallowed in self-pity, like the victim of a somewhat heinous crime, and now he has a partner even stupider than he is, so I'm sure he'll be the loser one more time. Mr. Perfect, you're the man who's never wrong. Can you prophesize what we're about to do? By the power of the genius and the world's smartest man. Rely on my incredible IQ. Now, if this wasn't one take, I would say give me another take. Right. But we're going to let it go. Yeah. We're going to let it go because in real life, I do get distracted and I make a mistake.
Well, which was more fun for you, the heel or the babyface?
Heel. Because let's face it, as Leaping Lanny, I was a suffering hero. But as the genius, I had 4 months in main events with the great Hulk Hogan. And you know what? I have selective amnesia. I choose to remember the 4 months and not the 21 years where I took my knapsack and wandered from town to town.
And what does Leapin' Lanny get up to nowadays? You mean you talked about you don't like to spend your time watching TV, you want to live every day. So what are you doing?
Well, I just made it to the first round of America's Got Talent. I got 14 more rounds to go. And of course, my talent is poetry. It's not anything else. So it's original. Even if you like it or don't like it, it's all mine.
So we're going to see you on America's Got Talent?
Only if I make it to the 15th level, and then they'll see me.
Oh, I see.
Okay, right now I'm on level 1, and then so I made it to the 2nd level.
Right, okay. But I mean, we all know you have talent, Lanny. We don't need to see you on a TV show to tell us, hey, this guy's got talent.
But I don't want to sit in a dark room and breathe. I want to live every moment, and I love that show. And I love Laura Breton. She didn't win, but I thought she should have won.
So you're doing this more just because you're a fan of the show?
I love the show. Right. And I love the people that are in it. Right. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much for sitting down and talking to us, Leapin' Lanny. Always great to hear from you.
Okay, very good. And I just want to say, do your best, forget the rest. That's how I face every test. Thank you.